What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another Brown Gen video. 2 live streams tonight. I just wanted to get out a video on a stock that I purchased quite a significant amount of today. And as you can see from this website, it's called Enphase. Enphase is a solar powered company. It's a stock that, if you've watched Meet Kevin, it's a stock that he's really been recommending for a couple of years. It's a stock that's been on my radar. I used to trade options on it. And in fact, there were some parts in my investing over the last few years where I got in and I got out of the stock. Didn't make huge amounts of money, but made like 10, 20% here and there. And over the last few days, and actually yesterday afternoon, after their earnings, they dropped from $169 as low as $140. You don't see it here, but they were around $140 at one point before rebounding today. So exactly what happened and sort of why am I buying this stock? What's really my purpose here? But before we get into it, if you're new here, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and don't forget, this is not financial advice. Do your own research, do your own due diligence, and then you'll be happy with the outcome regardless of how it all turns out. So on July 27th, or on Thursday, Enphase, which is a global energy company and the world's leading supplier of microinverter-based solar and battery systems, announced their financial results for Q2 of 2023. In that quarter, they announced quarterly revenue of $711 million, which was 46% non-GAAP adjusted gross margin. In that quarter, they shipped over 5 million microinverters. I'm not really going to get into the technical terms here, but what's really important was that this resulted in a diluted earnings per share of $1.09, and if it's non-diluted, or non-GAAP diluted, it was 1.47. So very good job by Enphase. This is a really solid company. They're the leader in the space as well. So then, after everything that happened, why do we see a drop? Well, before we get into the bad news, when they exited the second quarter, they had $1.8 billion worth of cash and cash equivalents and marketable securities, and they generated $269 million in cash flow from operations, while their capital expenditures were $44 million compared to $22 million in the first quarter. And this is a result of investment in U.S. manufacturing and R&D equipment. I'm not going to cover really their microinverter sort of 78% shipments or their IQ battery shipments. If you want this information, I will put this in the description below. What's important was they had a share repurchase program, and this was authorized by the board of directors back a couple years ago in May of 2021. So with this, they repurchased approximately 1.25 million shares in quarter two, which came out to around $200 million if you look at the average price being around $160. Now that completed the share repurchase program that they had a couple of years ago. Now, what do? Well, as with every successful company, when companies are successful and they have a lot of cash flow, they try to reduce the number of shares they have outstanding. So they authorize a brand new share repurchasing program where they can repurchase up to $1 billion of common stock, right? So about double of what they authorized the last time. Hey, Zelf, how's it going? I hope you're having a great night. I don't know if it's late for you. It's like 2 a.m. here, but I have a really busy day tomorrow, so I just wanted to make this video out, and StreamYard and live streaming makes it so easy. Thanks for joining in. So business highlights were that Enphase announced that it's expanded its global relationship with renewable energy company Bawa. They announced that SolarGraph, its cloud-based design and proposal software system used by solar installers, is now available in Brazil, They've also expanded their relationship with 4Blue and announced the launch of IQ8 microconverters and the launch of the IQ Energy router. I'm not really going to these two because, these is more of the same. But what happens typically is the market is always forward looking. All right, perfect. You hit your earnings. What can we look forward to next time? And unfortunately, their Q3 financial outlook is not as good. So they're estimating between 550 to 600 million, which is about 150 or 100 million drop from Q2. Their margin is also going to be a little lower at between 41 to 44%. And their operating expenses are expected to be about $160 million. So as a result of all of this, their stock price slumped as the demand that's forecasted has sort of dropped, right? And as a result, they dropped about 11% after hours on Thursday and in the early morning Friday after their revenue targets were well short of the analyst estimates due to weaker demand, right? Now, what we've noticed here is there's been sort of lukewarm appetite for solar equipment in the US because there are cheaper electricity prices in places like Texas and Arizona. So solar is less attractive. And we're about 200 million short on the forecast revenue from where the analysts were. Now, because of this, and this is sort of what a lot of these analysts do, they have price targets for the companies, right? And once they start noticing a company's prices going down in the stock market, they just cut their price targets. Just like if, for example, tomorrow your favorite stock was to go up, all of a sudden they'd be bumping up their price target. It's sort of you can't really rely on this, and I always talk about this. Now, their CEO said, we are assuming the same level of uncertainty continue going forward. Therefore, we are taking aggressive and prudent actions in the US to manage down their channel inventory, right? So the company's US business is taking a one-time correction in its inventory level in the third quarter, but they are seeing growth in the European market. So this is very promising. Now, the analysts are expecting the US to slow down even further and have a 25% year-over-year decline in the fourth quarter and 28% decline in the first quarter of 2024. I think it's sort of a bit exaggerated how bad this is because it's not. I don't really think it's this bad. And as I mentioned, they have the $1 billion share buyback plan or $1 billion worth of shares buyback, but that didn't really affect the share sell-off. Now, what I will say here, and this is something I always show you, when you are looking to buy or sell something, you want to look at the market cycle. When everyone's sort of saying things are bad, but sort of reality doesn't seem that way, that might not be a bad time to purchase the stock. It's actually potentially a point of maximum financial opportunity if you can get it at the lows. At the same time, if you are at the peaks, like we were about a year ago, that's your point of maximum financial risk. I remember I told my mom to buy this stock as well over a holiday dinner one time. So she bought it alongside me. And once it hit 300 something, I'm like, sell, sell, sell. She sold, I sold. The stock rallied another 20%. So we missed out on $60 per share. And then it crashed completely. So these cycles are sort of unpredictable, but you get massive euphoria and massive dysphoria, and it continues. Now, looking at the Enphase chart, one thing I do want to cover here is I remember the last time we had really bad guidance. I think it was back in 2022 end of 21. I remember Enphase was sitting around where it's $280 and it dropped to 189. I forget. I think this is part of the recession in general. But over the course of 2 weeks, they announced some really bad guidance, and the stock's value sort of dropped from 189 all the way down to $114. Now, I only had 5 shares at that time, and I was kind of do I really want to buy this right now? And the fear was the exact same thing. Oh, growth is slowing down, bad outlook. So I stayed away. I kept my 5 shares. I stayed away, right? And then the stock just took off. right? And by the time I hit the second retracement around 150, this is where I loaded up. This is where I sort of talked to my mom about this. Oh, I don't know why I thought it was a holiday dinner. It was around my birthday. That's why. So it was around my birthday where I specifically talked about this. And then the stock just sort of rallied. It went to around 300 something. And around the 300s, I was like, okay, it's time to sort of sell this. It sort of, rallied, came back down, rallied, went up to like 340, 350, and then completely has been dumping ever since. But I think all of this is cyclical, and I think that Enphase has a good opportunity to come back and test all-time highs and go even further. And when I saw this opportunity yesterday, I messaged some of my friends to let them know, hey, Enphase is actually a very good company. I wouldn't say it's a super blue chip, but it is a significantly highly profitable organization. And at 140 bucks, which is what it was in the after hours, that's not really shown in this candle because it's during market hours. But at 140 bucks, it's so hard to say no. And then during the pre-market this morning and during the market hours, it went all the way to 154. So I bought 30 shares, not huge by any means, but about $4,500 worth, $4,200 worth. And I've already made like 8% on my purchase. And I don't plan on selling. Maybe I'll sell some at 183 bucks, but I plan on selling the majority of it back in the 300s. I think this is a really great opportunity to load up. As you can see here, it's very rarely below this point. And when it is, it doesn't really stay for that long. So that is sort of my plan here. I'm very long-term bullish on this company. I think that sort of these concerns that its forecast is not that great and the demand is slowing down is over-exaggerated. And like I said, this is a fantastic time to go on a Black Friday sale, basically. I love buying stuff when it's sort of undervalued, oversold, and then I will sell it once it becomes sort of overvalued and undersold. So I'm like, all right, time to cash out. And I continue to do this to sort of allow me to expand my portfolio. So that's really all I want to talk about Enphase. I'm super bullish. If you haven't already, make sure you follow me on Instagram at the Brown Gent. On YouTube, make sure you hit subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at the Brown Gent YT. Check out our free public Discord if you want help with the stock market, cryptocurrency trading. Also consider joining and becoming a member of the channel. You can be a channel supporter, very basic for $1 a month. Investing Prodigy, get access to private live streams with yours truly, as well as sort of, access to me at all times. I'm going to create a private channel just for that. And right now, since we just launched, we only have 2 members and no one in the Investing Prodigy group. Of course, I'm going to build that up over time. And until then, if you're the only one, you get full access to me. That being said, I want to thank you all for watching this video. And until next time, I'll see you in the next video. Have a good night, everyone.